Over the years, I've recognised that people fall into one of two categories. They're either the pilots of their life or the passenger. And which one you are is going to determine how far you go, how successful you are, how stressed you are. So which are you? Are you in control of your life as the pilot, or are you just a passenger? By the end of today's show, you're going to understand, because I'm going to have a chat with Tom Corley in my monthly Rich Habits, Poor Habits podcast. So welcome to this month's show.
Welcome to the Michael Yardney podcast, where each week you will learn a number of new ideas regarding success, property investment and money in around 30 minutes. Our show is brought to you by Metropole, who specialise in helping you grow, protect and pass on your wealth through strategic property advice. Now here's your host, Michael Yardney, Australia's most trusted property commentator, who has once again been voted our leading expert in wealth creation. That's the fifth time he's won a similar award in the last 7 years.
In Tom Corley's 5-year Rich Habits study of 233 rich people and 128 poor people, he discovered that we adopt the beliefs of our parents, our families, our members, our culture and our environment. Look, you've heard me talk about this before. It's the subject of many of my blogs and of our best-selling book, Rich Habits, Poor Habits. Over the years, mentoring over 2,000 successful and unfortunately a number of unsuccessful business people, investors and entrepreneurs, I've found they're divided into two opposing schools of thought. The first school of thought is what some people would call self-determination. In other words, that you drive your life circumstances. And the second school of thought is that group of people that think things are predetermined, that life circumstances are already determined. Look, put simply, you're either the pilot of your life or the passenger. Now, that's what we're going to be discussing in this week's show, our monthly Rich Habits, Poor Habits podcast that I do in between my regular Michael Yardney podcasts. You see, there's plenty of evidence that what we find most stressful as humans is uncertainty. Not the changes that happen in life, but the uncertainty of it. Think about it. Why do some people seem to sail gently through all the changes in life, all those things that life throws at them, while others get upset if they have to change, I don't know, even their breakfast cereal? The key is how you view change and your level of acceptance of uncertainty and your resilience. As I started to say, in life, you're either the passenger or the pilot. It's your choice. If you're the pilot, you're in control of the plane, and the passenger sits at the back and enjoys the ride. Are you in control of your life, or is somebody else? Are you making the important decisions about your future, or is somebody else doing that for you? Are you the one taking action, or are you waiting for others to make your life better? Do you have a destination in mind for your life, or are you reliant on the whims of others? Do you practice your skills so that you can get your life off the ground, or do you just buy a ticket and sleep during the flight? Are you happy to take responsibility for the hard work that goes into making your life a success, or are you just happy to sit back complaining about the airline's food? And when turbulence happens, are you the one struggling with the controls to get things back on track, or do you look confused and wonder who's going to fix the problem? You've got a choice. You can either be the pilot or the passenger. You must be one. You can't be both. So which one are you? As I said, that's the topic we're going to discuss in more detail today with my good friend Tom Corley, who's a CPA, a best-selling author, and Tom spent 5 years studying the daily habits of 233 rich people and 128 poor people and came up with his Rich Habits, Poor Habits study. So welcome, Tom.
Hey, Michael, how you doing, my friend?
Good, thank you. Tom, we all know we've got a future waiting for us, but interestingly, I found that some people feel the future is flexible, they've got a say in it, they've got a control in it, and there are other people who unfortunately seem that they're just a passenger being pulled along by outside forces.
Yeah, and that is the thing that really bothers me, because I studied, as you know, I studied 361 rich and poor people, and the rich people, particularly the ones who were self-made, the self-made millionaires, they believed in the school of thought that self-determination drives your circumstances in life, your financial circumstances. The poor people, on the other hand, Michael, they believed that your life was outside your control. Things like fate and luck, what the family that you're born into, basically predetermination already has defined whether you're going to be rich or poor, and that's just not true. And I'm trying to change their thinking habits and get the word out there that, hey, guess what? You can transform your life. It's not what you think.
There's an interesting word you left out there, but that second group of people also tend to be victims, don't they?
Yeah, so they're a victim of, being, like I said, being born in the wrong family. They were born poor. They're victims because maybe they went to a public school system and that wasn't very good. They're victims because, everybody that surrounds them is poor. They're victims because they never got any breaks in life. So they're victims for a lot of reasons, and they use that as a crutch for the rest of their lives to justify their poverty or their lack of success.
One of the messages in our book, Rich Habits, Poor Habits, is that you can change your life because you are in control. You have a future waiting for you, and the future is determined by your habits, the way you think, therefore the actions you take, and therefore the results that you're going to get. So let's have a bit of a talk about that first school of thought, Tom. How do people who believe that they determine their future, how do they think? What are their beliefs? What are their habits?
Well, they don't believe that there's any high power out there or there's anybody that's interfering with their ability to be successful or to achieve success in life. They believe success, wealth, failure, poverty are just things that you manufacture during your lifetime. And, it's really a question of free will. I think.
Now, to be fair, that may offend some people. When this has nothing to do with spirituality or a higher godly power, but we're really saying that despite whatever else could be up there, there still is your own free will to determine what's ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're going to be spiritual or religious about it, you've probably heard 1,000 times that, God gave us free will. Well, what does that mean? It means, if you're religious, it means that you have the ability to manufacture your own life. It's up to you. And, if you pursue a certain career path, that's your decision. And that career path may lead to success or it may not. In other words, the circumstances of our lives are dictated by our decisions, dictated by our behaviors, and dictated by the choices that we make. In effect, we create our own destiny.
Now, if people don't really believe that, Tom, I think one just has to look at one's own present circumstances today. And really, we are where we are today in all areas of our life, whether it's financial, whether it's relationships, whether it's health, diet, because of all the decisions we've chosen to make and the decisions we've chosen not to make. And because we have a free choice of things, especially the people listening to this podcast, Tom, who are living in Western world, in great societies where there is the ability to move forward, any decision we make today will determine where we are, because we are definitely going to be somewhere in 5 years' time. The question is, where is that going to be?
Yeah, and are you going to be in control of where you're going to be? And I talk a lot about dream setting and creating a blueprint for your life. How many people have actually done that? How many people have sat down and wrote 1,000-word script of the ideal, perfect future life that they'd like to have? I'm guarantee you it's less than 5%. And guess what? In my study, Michael, it was close to 80% of the self-made millionaires did that. So there's one thing you can do. You can try and create a blueprint of the life. If you don't know where you're going to go, if you have no idea where you're going to go, you're going to wind up anywhere. That's a Jim Rome thing.
Clearly, and if you believe that you don't have the say in where you're heading, then you really fall into category number 2 that we were talking about, those who think life is predetermined. Now, I know some people are probably saying, as they're listening to our conversation, no, that's not true. But it may not be in all areas of your life, but there will be in certain elements of your life where you think, oh, I just can't do that. It's just not me. I'm not smart enough, or I'm too dumb, or I'm not educated enough, or the boss isn't going to let me do this, or the government's not going to let me do that. So it doesn't mean in all areas of your life, does it, Tom?
No. Look, in my opinion, it really boils down to your beliefs. And I think those people that subscribe to the school of thought that life is not within their control, that they're not in control of their life circumstances, they have a bunch of limiting beliefs. And those limiting beliefs are holding them back. They're limiting beliefs probably most likely that they inherited from their parents. It could be their environment, the neighborhood that they were raised in. It could be other mentors they ran into life who weren't necessarily success mentors. So, they have all these limiting beliefs that really are like a backpack, of weights, and you're carrying it around your whole life. And what we're trying to do is remove those weights and let people understand that if you can remove that backpack of weights, you can change your circumstances. Your limiting beliefs can be changed, and they are the things that drive whether you're going to be rich or poor.
Now, interestingly, you and I spend a week together every year on the Gold Coast in Australia at Wealth Retreat, and there are a whole group of already very successful business people, entrepreneurs and investors there, people who've achieved what to outside people would be quite some degree of wealth, but even they have their own limiting beliefs, and each year we unpack that. So it happens to everybody, and you're right, a lot of it has to do with the things you were told, the things you saw, the things you experienced as a child. But the question is, are you an actor in this story that's in your mind, or are you the storyteller who's actually got the right to be able to change the story? And that was the story then as a child, when you only had the knowledge and know-how and experience of a child. But as an adult today, it's time to get rid of some of those stories, isn't it, Tom?
Yeah, what I think is important as a takeaway for people who are listening is you are literally the construction team for your life. And the construction team includes you and the people you surround yourself with. So are you going to surround yourself with a team of people who are going to lift you up and encourage you and inspire you? Or are you going to surround yourself with a bunch of other people who are just in the same boat as you, struggling financially, and have these limiting beliefs, and all they do is reinforce those limiting beliefs? They don't do you any good. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get people to move away from those people that are holding them back and move towards people that go to places like the Wealth Retreat, where they're all encouraging each other. They're all upbeat, positive. They know that they have work to do, but they're willing to do the work.
Now, it's really interesting because I've found that people who have the victim mentality are in an almost self-fulfilling cycle, because what they feel is, if you don't have much control of your life, then why should I bother to change? Why should I bother to learn? Why should I bother to improve? Because it's not going to do anything. It's not going to help me, is it?
No, they believe that they're powerless. And that is really, that powerless feeling, that helplessness, stops you from moving ahead in life. And if you're going to feel that way, then guess what? You're going to be powerless. If you feel that you have some power over your life, you're going to be able to change your life.
So what are the first steps to move forward, Tom?
Well, I think the most important thing is to believe in yourself, that you are the main actor in your life, as you put it, who is responsible for the financial circumstances of your life. You have to come, I guess you could call it a come to Jesus moment, where you say, look, this is my life. This is the way it is. I'm to blame. Now, if you can accept your financial circumstances are a direct result of your thinking and your behaviors and your decisions and the choices that you've made, only then, Michael, are you going to be able to change your life, because you're going to be able to change the thinking, change your behaviors, change the decisions, and change your choices.
And then you've got to continue on doing it by reading the right blogs, by listening to the right podcasts, by self-educating yourself, and by hanging around the right people, which is the sort of thing we talk about in our videos, we discuss in this podcast, and we've written in our book, Rich Habits, Poor Habits. So if you're listening to this, and if any of this resonates, go to richhabitspoorhabits.com and get a copy of our book, even if it's the Kindle version or a hard copy through Amazon or on an online bookshop. And we'd love you to start to learn more, because you've got to learn that you're the pilot of your life. You've got to be in control, but you've also got to follow a plan, because a pilot knows where they're heading as well. And through our readings, our writings, our podcasts, our videos, we're going to help people get that plan, aren't we, Tom?
Yeah, we're obsessed with it, Michael. We want to lift people up. That's our goal.
And that's a really interesting thought that we're finishing off on, because the poor, the victims, won't understand that, because they think the rich are greedy, while in fact you and I know that the rich actually know that they're only going to become wealthier. The world is going to become a better place if everybody else joins them.
Yeah, well, I have a little secret for everybody. I used to believe that the rich were evil, greedy people. And after my research, after my Rich Habits study, I came to admire them. In fact, I think they're among the greatest people on the face of the earth, because they are fearless in pursuing their dreams and in constructing the life of their dreams. They don't allow anyone to stand in their way. They're like ants. You ever see ants, Michael?
Yeah.
You put an obstacle in front of an ant, it'll find a way around it. It doesn't stop. It knows where it's going. That's what self-made millionaires are like. They're like ants. They know where they're going. They don't stop. And we're trying to give people that thinking ability to become like an ant, because that's what's going to carry you forward. You're going to never stop pursuing your dreams and your goals. And that's really what our objective is here, right?
Fantastic. Thanks, Tom. I look forward to having another chat with you real soon.
Same here, Michael.
Well, there you have it. You can decide. Are you going to be the pilot of your life or the passenger? Actually, there's really no choice, is there? I hope you're getting benefit from these monthly Rich Habit, Poor Habits chats I'm having with Tom Corley in between my weekly Michael Yardney podcast. So on the first week of each month, watch out for these Rich Habit, Poor Habits podcasts. And if you're getting benefit from them, please pass the message on. Let somebody know about it through social media, through an email. Just tell them, because just like we're wanting to help as many people like you develop more rich habits, get fewer poor habits, we're wanting you to pass the message on, pass it forward to somebody else so they can benefit as well. Look forward to catching up with you for my regular Michael Yardney podcast next week.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Michael Yardney podcast, which was brought to you by Metropole, who help their clients grow, protect and pass on their wealth through strategic property advice. If you got value from today's show, we'd really appreciate it if you would leave a review, and we'll read it out on a future show, and Michael will gift you one of his books as a way of saying thank you. Just go to michaelyardneypodcast.com/review and let us know what you think. If you don't already subscribe, head over to iTunes or your favourite Android app. You'll find us there as Michael Yardney Podcast. If you'd like to gain instant access to the show notes, head across to michaelyardneypodcast.com. Watch out for our show next week. You'll learn some new ideas about property investment, success and money in around 30 minutes.